All right, so let's talk about this NBA rank. I know you were probably following this a little bit more closely than I was, but Steph makes it into the top 5 for the second year in a row, but stays in the same spot. He is number 5 again, just like last year, and the players that he is below are at number 4, Joel Embiid, at number 3, Luka Doncic, at number 2, Nikola Jokic, at number 1, Giannis Antetokounmpo. 2 of those guys, Steph beat him in the playoffs. Just want to make that clear. But yeah, he's sitting 5. What did you think about his rating?
Didn't like it, but I kind of understand it. If this is more of a ranking based on how he will do in like the regular season, including the playoffs, then I mean, I don't think he's going to play as many games as the other guys. Maybe not do as well in the regular season as the other guys, because I mean, he's a vet. What year is he going into? Like, I'm sure he's not, as geared up for the regular season in terms of like 100% caring, because how could you when you've done it for this many years? But we did our ranking on the BAM. I haven't released the second episode. We did the first episode, which was we did a top 25. So we did top 20. We did 25 or 16 through 25 on the first episode, and then we're doing 1 through 15 on the second one. We recorded the second one. Steph's number 3 on ours. I fought for it because I didn't want to end up on the wrong side of history. But the thing is, if you look at it from like a postseason perspective, like that's what really matters. And I mean, Steph's probably top 3 in that end. I think that's why we gave
Number
Jimmy
1.
Butler. Yeah, that's why we give Jimmy Butler a little bit of a bump on our list too, because I mean the guy shows up in the postseason. He just really only plays like 50 to 60 games in the regular season.
So right after Steph was LeBron. Did the LeBron fan base cry foul here on this ranking for LeBron?
Oh, we had him at 9.
Oh man. Well, okay, so you had LeBron at 9, which means ahead of LeBron were probably the 5 guys that were in the top 5 on the ESPN list, and then had to be Tatum,
Yeah,
KD,
yeah.
uh,
Injured all of last year is the last guy.
injured all of last year.
Plays on the Clippers.
Kawhi.
Yeah.
I thought I injured all of last year. I was going to be like, wait, Zion is higher than LeBron? And what about Ja? Did you have Ja on there?
I think we had Ja. We might have had Ja above LeBron. I don't think we did. No, I don't think we would have.
All right. Yeah, I thought this stuff is kind of fun. It's mostly there just to get people talking. I
Yeah.
know Jaylen Brown was at number 22, and he's up 5 spots from the previous year. Man, I don't know where he should be, but he was scary. That's kind of how I rank guys when I look at this, is how do they play against the Warriors?
Mm-hmm.
And that's why, I would have had Grant Williams right outside the top 500. but that's kind of how I do. Is like, am I scared of this guy? Like, am I scared of Ja? Yes.
Yeah.
Am I scared of Jokic? Kind of, but not really, because he doesn't have the pieces around him to beat the Warriors. But if they do come back next year with Murray and Porter Jr. and they are healthy and they play well together and they sort of kind of get it right into gear, then yeah, I'll be really scared of Jokic as well. Luka, sort of the same thing. I never thought, we did the whole series last year. We never thought Luka had the guys to beat the Warriors, so there wasn't really that fear. But the fear was in him, like putting the team on his back and just going like, "Let's go." I think Giannis at number 1 is probably right, though. I think he's the best player. And he's the guy who can still single-handedly take over a game, just to put the team on his back and win. But it very, very interesting list. And I know the NFL does the same thing, and they actually make it a TV show.
Mm-hmm.
And I was kind of wondering if, why doesn't ESPN make it a TV show? They should, do the whole countdown, just like the NFL does, and they would get.
I would probably watch it.
Yeah, they would get way more publicity, just like the NFL's list. But I actually, the thing is I don't know how they do their rankings, so that they may have to explain that as well. But KD went from number 1 all the way down to number 8, and my guy didn't do anything wrong except for ask for a trade.
Except for get his butt kicked against the Boston Celtics.
He's the only guy left. Like
Kyrie played. He got swept.
My
He
God.
didn't even play that well.
KD, man. KD.
I think he was number 7 on our list.
Disrespected. KD just disrespected right
Number
now.
6, maybe? I think he was number 6 or 7.
I think KD's gonna start writing people's names down. So you better watch out. He's gonna come at people. Just know, KD, on my list, you're always in the top 5. But on Bry's list, he put you on 7.
All right, do a top 5. Do a top 5 off the top of your head.
Okay, but my top 5 is going to be very biased because, okay, here's how I would do it. I would go Giannis 1.
Yep.
I would go Steph 2.
Fair.
I would go Luka 3.
You gotta go Jokic 3, man.
No,
like,
I go Luka 3. You know why?
Back-to-back MVP.
Yeah, but you could play centers off the floor. Like I just remember watching how frustrated he was last year. And he probably just wishes he was a guard because he's like, man, if I'm a guard, I can do all these crazy things to put the team on my back. But because I'm a center and I'm 7 feet tall and I don't run very fast, I can't do that. But again, it's a biased thing because what this Warriors since 2015 has shown us is it's wings, right? It's ball handlers and wings, and that's how you win championships. And so that's why I have Giannis number 1, because he does both. He handles the ball. He's their best wing defender. He's their I'm gonna get a bucket guy. And so that's why I would have him. I would have Luka ahead of Jokic. I'd probably put Jokic like 5. But then who would be 4? I guess KD would be 4, right?
Yeah, that's what you said. KD had to be top 5. That's the only spot left.
Yeah, and
I just feel like this is the same disrespect that Steph was getting that we were so annoyed with. Back-to-back MVP, and he's still not X. Like after all the ESPN stuff, and we're just watching it happen to Joker.
Steph won a championship and then won the most games ever in the regular season, back-to-back years.
I hear the criticism, but let's if we look at that Nuggets roster that we just killed, who if we talk about their second best player, Aaron Gordon, where does he face up against the Warriors? Like you'd go Jokic 1 or Steph 1, Jokic 2, and then you go Warrior all the way and down until Aaron Gordon. I think it's the teammates, and now that he has Jamal Murray and Michael Porter Jr. back, still like I'd put a lot of Warriors probably before them, but it's
if Jokic, I'm gonna give it to him right here. I hope he's listening. If Jokic wins the title next year, I'll put him at number 1.
Yeah, but don't you want to be ahead of the curve? That's kind of how I feel. Like I want to be ahead of the curve on this stuff. I don't want to just put him low and then he proves me wrong. I'd rather put him right and then maybe he proves.
Yeah, but being ahead of the curve is like saying Cade Cunningham's going to be a top 10 player this year. Like that's
just way too ahead of the curve. That's just not going to happen. But okay, sneaky. I know this is not a Denver Nuggets podcast, but sneaky addition I feel like is KCP at the 2, man. 3-and-D guy. We just watched how much Jokic kicked out to his shooters and they couldn't hit a shot. KCP will hit that shot. They got Bruce Brown as well, who kind of was in a Draymond role in the Brooklyn Nets team. I think that's a good ad. These are a good team. I have them number 1 on my Western Conference rankings. Like
ahead of the Warriors
in regular season. Regular season, yes, I have them. Just I think they'll care about it more. Doesn't say I think they're better than the Warriors. I think they'll have a better regular season because they'll.
You know who the Warriors play in Game 2 at San Francisco? The Denver Nuggets. Back to back. Those are 2 awesome. And even that Sacramento game, 3 games to start the season. Sacramento's always fun, at least in the beginning of the season, because there's always hope that they figured it out, and it's sort of the Mike Brown homecoming. But right out of the gate,
did you see who was at the Sacramento Kings facility?
Sugar?
Barry Bonds.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Is he friends with Mike Brown?
I'm guessing it's Vivek.
Oh, Vivek. Yeah, that's that. Yeah, I guess Barry Bonds also did the version of the Manning cast that they do for baseball with A-Rod. Barry Bonds was on that, and supposedly people really liked him, which Barry Bonds is a lovable guy right now. He's not the angry guy that all of these beat writers see in their nightmares. He's just a lovable guy right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, the opening season, Lakers, Denver, Sacramento, that'll be fun, and then they go to Phoenix in Game 4 and Miami in Game 5. Nice little kickoff to the season for them. So just to quickly, I'll just where everyone else on the Warriors fell. Um, so the second highest Warrior, if you would have asked me, and I didn't think about it, I would have been like, "Oh yeah, Clay's second." But if I thought about it, then I go, "Wait, is Clay ahead of Wiggins? Wiggins at number 32.
Yes,
What do you think
sir.
about that?" So he was right in the middle of so 35, 34, 33 was Cade, Marcus Smart, Kyrie Irving, and then right after Wiggins, so 31 through 29, Chris Middleton, Pascal Siakam, Brandon Ingram. I think that's pretty good.
I didn't like it.
I would put Wiggins ahead of Ingram. Um, but yeah, I think that's around. You know, if Wiggins played a little bit more like that, what was the one game where he went and dunked on somebody? Was that the finals or was that the Western
That was
Conference finals?
Dallas. It was
Yeah, yeah,
Dallas. It
yeah.
was like game 4, I think, or game 3. Game 3.
If he played like that, like a little bit more, like you can't play like that constantly. Like you know, you just can't be so ferocious like that. But he could probably score a little bit better and a little bit more efficiently just by getting to the bucket.
Yeah.
And you know, but I feel like that's right. I would just want Wiggins a little bit more than Ingram because defensively, like as we saw
Mhm.
in the finals, he was just so good. But yeah, I like that. I like where he was. Clay was 37, so right in front of Clay. So 36 through 34 was Evan Mobley, Cade Cunningham, Marcus Smart. Should Marcus Smart be ahead of Clay?
No,
No, I'm not
no.
so sure
Marcus
about that.
Smart is I have so many complaints about him as a player. But I like a lot of things about Marcus Smart, but no, he shouldn't be.
And then from 40 through 38, Zion, Scotty Barnes, and Fred Van Vliet. I feel like Zion is also going to be taking names this year. Zion and KD, they're writing names down. So I hope you guys ranked Zion okay on your list.
21 or 20
Okay.
for us.
Okay, because he looks like he's in pretty good shape.
Yeah.
And you know, Jordan Brand needs him to have a good season because they need to sell some shoes.
Yes.
And yeah, I like that. So Clay, yeah, I would have put Clay in front of Marcus Smart, but you know, those are some young dogs in there with Mobley and Cunningham. I find it funny when they do that though, like they'll like group like all the young players together, like
Mm.
Mobley and Cunningham drafted 1 and 2. They're like right next to each other.
Well, I
Uh,
think Clay is someone who could potentially go up as the season progresses. Like, I mean, I think they're basing it off of the Clay who is 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 a sharpshooter, maybe not as much as a guard stopper, more of like a wing defender now. But if he is able to somehow like do what he did in the finals defensively, like he'd be like 26 or 27.
Yeah, but you know, and contracts should matter and stuff like this. Like he's like one of the highest paid players in the league, and you know, if you're putting together a roster, yeah, you don't want Clay with that contract because he's makes almost $50 million. But just player for player, I think 37 is probably a little high for my taste, but I understand just because he's coming off of 2 injuries, and now this is the year to prove himself. There you go. There's 3 people who are taking names. KD, Zion, and Clay. All right, Draymond at number 43. So right in front of Draymond for 42 through 40 would be DeJounte Murray, LaMelo Ball, and then Zion. And then right after Draymond, Darius Garland, CJ McCollum, Tyrese Maxey. He's kind of in a weird
Yeah.
mix of players there because he is a little more one-dimensional than those guys are, but his one dimension is better than everybody else's one dimension, I feel. But yeah, not you know, he's gonna. I found it interesting that he was number 16 in 2018, which is not that long ago. But yeah, he's just kind of been going backwards in these rankings for the last few years.
I think people are just betting on what happened last year, where like injuries might start catching up and play effect into his defense. And if there's any year, like I think I would bet on it, it'd probably be this year. But I think that we've said it on this podcast before. You've said it is that it's not essentially like, he's losing athleticism, but at the same time he's playing it with like his instincts, and he's maybe jumping a half a second before he would usually do to just, make up for that when he comes to, deflecting a shot or blocking a shot or things like that.
And then making his debut on this list at number
Kevon Looney?
55. I think Kevon may have been 101. Jordan Poole at number 55. 3 players ranked before him were De'Aaron Fox, Jaren Jackson Jr., and Jarrett Allen. So those guys were 54 through 52. And then right after Poole, so 56 through 58, Robert Williams, Vucevic, and Tobias Harris. I would rather have Jordan Poole than probably all 6 of those guys, except for maybe Jaren Jackson Jr., just because of the possibilities of who he can become. But Jordan Poole fits very well with all those guys.
Yeah.
Robert Williams, we saw him in the playoffs. He was hurt, but he was a
awesome.
menace. He was a menace at the rim. But that's really what it looks like he is currently.
Mhm.
Like I didn't see him as anything more than that, but he was really good and disruptive. Vucevic is more of an old school scoring big. I still don't really see how he's going to help Chicago in that way. Because I don't know, like again, I just look at this as like, how would the Warriors, if Vucevic was playing awesomely, how would the Warriors play him? And they'd go small and they'd take him off the court, and then that's how they would win. Tobias Harris, he's a little bit more of a, I think people just expect more out of him than he really is, and if they valued him for actually what he does, he would probably have a little bit better of a name in the league. And Fox,
it's also because of his contract.
Sure, yeah, but like we said, contract shouldn't matter in this thing. And then De'Aaron Fox, I don't know, I like Jordan Poole better than De'Aaron Fox.
I feel like that's a guy who's going to be taking names this year is De'Aaron Fox.
Okay, can De'Aaron Fox shoot the basketball? Because if he can shoot the basketball, then I'm in on him. But if he can't shoot the basketball, then what can you do? It's very hard to be a non-shooting ball handler in this league.
I mean, you've got to be like the John Morant, Derrick Rose, Russell Westbrook. You got to be like an athletic freak and just dunk, like be a dunk threat like every single time you drive. And
his 3-point shooting last year was 29.7%, which is actually lower than his career high. So it's not going the correct way.
Well, okay. So one thing I will say about De'Aaron Fox is there's actually like 3 Kings fans in the BAM. And I've seen this a lot on Kings Twitter as well. There's this certain point where they say, like, if you look at from February after the All-Star break to the end of the season, like, it looks really good. And so, that's what they've been pumping.
I like him.
Like his stats from one date to the end of the season.
I like him. I just don't know if he can actually get to that top level, because he's actually shooting less threes now than he did less threes now than he did last year. But
interesting team.
Probably because he's not making them. So he still scored. He scored the ball. He scored 25 a game 2 years ago, 23 a game last year. We'll see. I would love to see the Kings be good again. I have no problem with the Kings being a good basketball team. It's better. I think it's better for basketball if they have a good franchise. So